So it's been 9 months since the PlayStation 5 launched, and it's been an awesome console with some incredible games already released. But there are some areas that still need improving, and even after 9 months, some features are still completely missing. So whether or not you're one of the lucky ones who's managed to get one, or you're still trying to secure one, see if you agree with my points in today's video, or if I've missed any, make sure you drop those in the comments. So first up, and probably one of the most requested and missed features on the PS5, and that's the lack of support for 1440p. At the moment, the PS5 only supports 1080p or 4K, so if you're using a 1440p monitor, which generally speaking a lot of people will be, you'll have to select the 1080p option and upscale from there. It will look fine, but if the PS5 could support 1440p, well, it'll be that sweet spot for most. It's a feature that will come, and hopefully one that we'll see very soon. Okay, so this next one was a missing feature until only a couple of days ago. However, it's still not technically available to the public, and it could be some time before it is. So we know that the PlayStation 5 comes with a 1TB drive with less than 700GB of usable space. So you can use an external SSD to store your PlayStation 4 and your PlayStation 5 games on, although you cannot play your PlayStation 5 games from that external drive. We also know there's an internal expansion bay that Sony within the last couple of days have confirmed will be making available for beta testers. Now, the availability and prices of these internal SSDs that meet those minimum requirements will be the biggest restrictions, along with when this will actually be available to the public. So it's great to see that Sony nearly 9 months later are looking to enable this internal bay, but it would have been awesome if they announced it with their own drive. Now, the option to add at least 1 to 2TB for those PlayStation 5 games is pretty important now, and something I would personally benefit from. Plus, as more PS5 games are launching, and generally speaking, those games are getting larger, you don't want to have to keep deleting games to make room for new ones. I'm looking at you, Call of Duty. So at the moment, there's no way to really customize the PlayStation 5's home screen or the dashboard. The background does change based on the game that you hover over, but that's pretty much it. It's definitely not custom to you. So it would be nice to be able to either add your own photo or wallpaper, or even the option to install themes based on the games or things that you like. Now, this was a feature that was on the PlayStation 4, so we regularly see new themes added from PlayStation based on maybe events or games that were being released. And generally speaking, we all like to customize our phones, laptops and consoles to feel more personal to us. So the PlayStation 4 had these, and it's a real shame that we don't see it on the PS5, and that's folders. So as we add more and more games to the library, there's no real way of organising it other than by date and size. It would be great to be able to use folders for games that you're currently playing, or multiplayer games, or even different family members. So the PlayStation 4 did this pretty well, and it's definitely a feature that I would like to see back, as I personally used it for my children's and my own games. Now, this next feature on the PlayStation 5 is missing, but not everybody will benefit from it, and that's VRR, or variable refresh rate. So generally speaking, games on consoles are locked to a frame rate, let's say 60 frames per second. But with the option to allow a variable refresh rate, it means we'll definitely see less screen tearing, stuttering, or even latency issues. PC gamers will be aware of this feature, as will the Xbox Series X and the S owners, as both of those consoles do support that. Now, you would need a TV that has HDMI 2.1 to see this benefit, but from my experience on the Xbox Series X, it works really well. Now, the PlayStation 5 will get VRR, it's just a matter of time. Possibly they'll wait until there's more games available that will support the higher frame rate. Okay, so this next one, which for me is a big one. So if you currently pay for PlayStation Plus, you'll obviously get access to the free monthly games, usually 2 or 3 games each month. And if you subscribe to PS Now, well, you get access to the full library of games, which they're okay. So the PlayStation 5 does need a service that is comparable to Game Pass, something that gives us the option to play all the new PlayStation exclusives on day one. Now, I know most will say they'd rather pay for the game outright and purchase it and own it, rather than renting it, which is essentially what you do on Game Pass. But for me, it allows me to play games that I would not normally buy, and I would happily pay Game Pass prices for a Sony equivalent. Now, we know that the PS5 supports Sony's Tempest 3D audio, but the PS5 is missing something for both video and audio, and that's Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision. So if you've got a TV that supports either of these, you'll know how good they look and sound. So if and when Sony adds this to the PS5, it will make a huge difference, not just for gaming, but for movies as well. Hopefully it's something that we'll see added in the future, as personally I think it will make a great addition. So next up is picture-in-picture. Now, some TVs already support this as well as Apple TV, but it would be awesome if the PS5 did too. Imagine being able to play a game full screen and have a small window that you could move around with a different app. You could have a walkthrough video up on YouTube or live stream from a sport that you're watching. Now, I know there are some workarounds with the Explore tab and being able to show YouTube at the same time, but I believe this is limited to the US at the moment. But being able to see native apps while you're gaming would be an awesome feature. So the PS5 was designed with these removable plates, which I've already replaced with some black ones from dbrand. Now the only real downside is that you lose that PlayStation logo, the cutout on the side, as they obviously are not official. I think it's only a matter of time before Sony offer their own versions, but I think it would be great to see a themed, exclusive or limited edition ones, just like we saw on the PlayStation 4. Now, we've already seen two colours of the controllers. We've had the Cosmic Red and we've had the Midnight Black. So I wouldn't be surprised if we hopefully see plates later this year. And if Sony did release a themed plate, what sort of gaming theme would you go for? So I definitely want to see a social feed or the old PlayStation 4 community tab added onto the PlayStation 5. Somewhere that shows you what your friends are playing, what trophies they've recently got, or any updates that they post. I know most people probably didn't use or even see the community tab on the PlayStation 4, but it was a feed that worked like Twitter and Instagram. It had a timeline that you could see what your friends were up to. It made everything feel that little bit more social and engaging. So hopefully this is something that we could see added to the PS5 in the future. I think it will be a really nice addition. So the PlayStation 5 needs a browser. Seeing as most people use their console as their central media hub for gaming and streaming, it makes sense to have a browser too. Now we know that the PlayStation 4 had this feature, and there is actually a setting on the PlayStation 5 that suggests it should have a browser already. There are workarounds for getting the browser to work on the PlayStation 5, such as sending a URL via a message or a party chat, but we need a native browser app to be able to search Google or visit normal websites. It's a feature that I think most people would like to see added, whether or not you're using it via your TV or not. So the PS5 has a game switcher, which allows you to switch between the different games that you're playing, but it's not quite as good as Xbox's quick resume. So we need to be able to switch between games and resume from the exact point that we left it. The PS5 is rapid at loading games up, but if we jump straight back into the level or the pause screen where we last left it, that would be awesome. Now the Xbox handles this perfectly, so if you load up a game and then you instantly swap between this game and a previous game, it will load up to the exact point where you last at. Now this is useful because it means you don't have to go to the load screen, you don't have to load your game save, you don't have to press start, you just go straight into that game. Whereas on the PlayStation 5, well, it's more kind of like a most recently played tab, so you can just flick between the different games available. So the PS5 supports a huge library of PS4 games via backwards compatibility. Pretty much any game that you have on the PS4 will work. There's only a very small list of games listed on the Sony's website that don't. But I really want to see PS3, PS2 and even PS1 games supported. I mean, sure, we're talking about a PlayStation 5 here from 2020, and most people don't want to play a 10 or 20-year-old game. But even on the PlayStation 4, I still downloaded old PS2 games like Bully. It would be awesome if we could see the entire previous backwards compatibility catalogue on the PlayStation 5. There are so many more games I would love to replay, but I don't have the PS2 to play it. Are there any games on the PlayStation 1, 2 or 3 that you would still like to play on the PS5 today, regardless of the graphics? If anyone uses a third-party Bluetooth headset with the PlayStation 5, you'll know that it requires that little dongle to be plugged into the console. The PlayStation 5 needs to be able to support the option to have these headsets natively connect without that dongle. It's not a big one, but it would definitely eliminate a USB port being used up or sticking out the front of your console. There's obviously a technical reason behind that. I don't know what that answer is, maybe one of you can tell me, but it would definitely be useful if every headset that was produced, whether it was a third party or not, could be used without a USB dongle. And this one, which isn't really an issue in my setup, it doesn't personally affect me, but it could definitely do with being smaller. Obviously this would require a redesign, but I think for most the PlayStation 5 is probably too big for a console, especially something that's just going to sit under your TV or on your desk. Hopefully we'll see a slim version in the future, and obviously that will cater for this and it will bring that size down. Okay, so here's a bonus one, something I think we could all agree on. We need more stock. Seriously, it's been 9 months and there's still a massive stock issue for this console. So I asked this question over on Instagram a few days ago, and these were the responses that I received. Now most confirmed what I was already thinking, but there were a few new ones here that I'd not thought about. Being in stock was definitely one of the most popular choices. So these were all of the points that I think the PS5 could do with improving on. Are there any here that you agree or disagree with? Or are there any that I've missed that you really think I should have added? So it doesn't need to be software either. It could be a hardware feature that we see in the next version of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Well, you've made it to the end of the video, so thank you for watching. If you drop a PS5 with a blue heart in the comments, I will give you a thumbs up for making it to the end. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on so you don't miss my next upload. You can also follow me over on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time.